Why do you prefer modern socionics? Modern socionics, one person asked. You know, it is not a question of preference. We prefer, me and my colleague Catherine, we prefer modern socionics because we have created it by our own heads, hands and minds. It's just happened like that. I'm involved in socionics since 2006, 14 years already. We made a very long way, a very long path. Socionics appeared 40 years ago, about 40 years ago. It happened, and from the moment of its very creation, it started to divide into different various directions. Every author that came to socionics every year, it all started in 1985 when first scientific conference took place in Kiev. There were some people who were very interested in socionics, and many of them started to create their own directions of socionics. Some of them still exist. For example, humanitarian socionics by Gulenko. He is one of the person who was one of the beginners of socionics in 80s. And every person creates its own version of socionics, its own understanding. And I told in previous videos that I have 12. I have 12 versions of my socionic types given by various people who consider themselves specialists. So according to various versions of socionics, there are such different results. Why does it happen? There is no universal socionic methodology now, and every author is trying to say that his version of socionics is the most correct, the most good and cool. So when you go to different socionic schools and directions, you will get different results, different types finally, because every socionic believes that in his own number of features that are necessary to type this or that person. Some people rely on behavior, and there are many socionic schools that do like that. It is some kind of behavioral socionics. For example, if a person does this and not doing that, he might be some type. We do not type like that. We do not rely on behavior because we believe that behavioral patterns are mostly connected with psychosophic types, while socionic type is about information mostly. But if we are taking into account behavioral strategy during the many years, only this strategy can fit into this or that type, but not as a final argument. We shall and we must analyze the semantics first, and then we look to the biography of this or that person. We rely on semantic method, semantic analysis. There were some schools that already used, and they told that they have this semantic approach, but the understanding of functions and the understanding of aspects was quite different in comparison to ours. The main thing about old socionics that the initial theory that was given 40 years ago was a sketch. It was not a finished methodology. It was not a finished and proven theory. It was only a sketch, an approximate model that maybe could describe some psychological features of this or that person. And the first socionic enthusiasts believed that socionic type describes the whole personality with his behavior, with his worldview, and so on. So they overestimated the share of socionic type within personality. There is a huge mistake in Western typology, Myers-Briggs, because they call psychological types, they call personality types. That is very incorrect in the very name of that, because personality is much wider than just a socionic type. Socionic type is only a part of personality, because there are many people that have the same socionic type and they do not look the same, they work in various places, they have different psychological features, they have different character, different achievements, and so on. So we shall conclude that socionic type is only a part of personality that describes the information filter that we have. So for example, if we have an ethical type, so people of ethical type will have the most brilliant and the most vast analysis in human psychology and in human behavior, in understanding of relations, attractions, sympathies, emotions, and so on. So very roughly speaking. And logical types will have those questions very poor understanding of those questions. So what else do we have in personality? There are many other things that lie beyond socionic type. So we shouldn't make the same the understanding of socionic type and personality type. Socionic type is not a personality. It's only a part of our psyche and our person.